Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back. Microsoft Flight Simulator. How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you for making it. Sorry for a bit of a delay. How's everyone doing? See a couple of folks in chat. Hey Patrick, how are you, man? Were you in Jack's stream? Sorry, couldn't drop by a while ago. Hey Sofrin, glad you made it. Elvis, how are you? Hey bro, Panda. How's the convoy going? Looks like it's all good based on the screenshots. Was that default graphics? The one with the sunset you posted? That looked so good. HE, glad you made it. How are you doing? Move to the new place now. Hey Tom. Awesome. The new place has Wi-Fi. Mom's house until the 5th. Oh, that's pretty close. By next week, you'll be moving. Awesome, great. Hey, Bunky. Glad you made it today, and thank you for making that new FBO network. So Bunky was hard at work creating some new FBOs in Europe for us, and that's why we are having this stream right now. We're actually focusing on the new FBOs that he's created for the VA, for Virtual Airline. Thanks for the follow, Souther. Feel free to join us in chat. Oh, there you go. Just in time, indeed. Thank you for joining and thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Nice livery. Yeah, actually, I couldn't find an exact livery. I guess ideally we would have something like SAS, right? But I didn't see anything like that for cargo. The closest I could find, so you guys can pick. We can pick either this one, the Martin Air Holland, which is pretty close geographically, I guess, or we can also go with the Swiss Air because we are limited to the liveries that are compatible with the 6A variant, the cargo plane variant, because that's the one that we'll be hauling in OnAir. So that's the other livery. Let me know if you prefer one or the other. But yes, we will be exploring. We'll be starting off in Finland, I believe in Helsinki, and we'll be making our way towards Denmark, Copenhagen. Those are the airport ICAO codes you can see in the upper left side of the screen. Echo Foxtrot Hotel Kilo to Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel. I'll share more about the flight plan in a bit, but let me go first through everyone in chat. Not too bad, thank you. That's great to hear, Chi. Stay safe. Skybox was default. But the lighting was shaders. Awesome. Wow, you're really getting the hang of it. The mixing and matching. Good to know, Tom. Hope it's treating you well. Alright, so any preference? Swiss Air or the Martin Air Holland? Red or blue and red? It's basically our choice. Not on your PC, no problemo. Still glad you made it to the stream though. So we'll be flying with the DC-6 today, and I will brave the wild west of not having Doug around, our AFE, our flight engineer. So normally this plane is piloted by 3 people. There are 3 people in the crew, in the cockpit, in the flight deck. There's the pilot flying, doing the actual controls, right? Actually flying the airplane. There's the pilot monitoring or pilot non-flying, who is taking care of the navigation, making sure we are headed the right way and coordinating with air traffic control. And there is a third guy, which is non-standard these days, but there is a third guy called the flight engineer, who is actually taking care of all the switches, all the knobs, all the setups. So the pilot flying basically says, let's enter takeoff phase. Go. And then the flight engineer goes and sets up all the different knobs. In our case, there is the artificial flight engineer that the MDG, the developers of this plane, created. So you can simulate that you have some guy helping you out. So you can say descent or climb, and then he'll do that for you. He can even get the plane ready for you for startup. And that's great, that's easy, but it's also even greater to actually get an idea of how the plane behaves and how it works in its rawest form. So today we won't be using Doug, we won't be using our AFE, we'll be taking care of everything, which might be a handful, but it will be fun because we'll be exposed to the different systems. So we'll get an understanding of how hard Doug's job is. We'll see. Swiss Air, you like the Swiss Air better? Okay, going with that then. Have you ever been to the Nordics before? Hey Worldy, thank you for joining. In real life? No, not yet, not yet. Yes, it's one of the things I would like to visit in the future when we get back into a more normal world. Any recommendations? Yes, we will be flying with no GPS. That's a good point, Tom. We will be flying only VORs using radios. No GPS on this plane. At least I don't have that option enabled. Hey Deso, exactly, just in time for some clumsy flying. First DC-6 video ever. First-hand experience. No problem at all, Panda. Thanks for joining. Appreciate the company as always. Alright, so I've already prepared the stuff in the background. Imagine that, I preparing something in advance. So here we go, world map. Zoom in, that's going to be the flight plan. This is going to be very familiar with ETS2 in a way, because these are very familiar places. Yeah, Helsinki, that's in ETS2, right? I think. Actually, we're not exactly in Helsinki, we're in Vantaa. But I guess that's the closest airport to it. So if that's the airport, if you look at the diagram, it does say Helsinki, Finland, Vantaa. So that's in the Helsinki area. And then we'll be crossing over to Estonia, just because there's a VOR there and we need that to navigate. Otherwise, we'll have no idea how to get to where we're going. And then we are going through here. If I remember correctly, correct me here guys, this is the Åland Islands, I believe. Part of Sweden, is it? Fact check me there as necessary. So there's another VOR there, and then the last VOR will be in Denmark itself, in the airport. So that's this guy right here. Copenhagen, Denmark, Kastrup is the name of the airport. Lots of different runways. We're going to target the 04 right approach. We'll see if the weather changes later on, but I have the flight plan loaded, and it's going to be a very interesting approach because we'll have to like do a U-turn, double back, and hopefully we'll have some nice views of the entire scenery. We'll see if we can find some POIs along the way. One cool thing as well about the DC-6 is because it has piston engines technically, right? It has radial piston engines. These don't actually, how do you say? With the normal jet engines that we have, they perform better, they perform more economically, more efficiently the higher you go. These piston engines do not. So the higher you go, the more fuel you consume, but the faster you go as well. So it's not that ideal to always just go as high as possible. And the good side effect of that is that means we can actually do more sightseeing because there is a benefit on staying lower. So in this flight, we'll only be cruising at 6,000 feet. I think that's flight level 60. So we will have a lot of chances for really exploring the any new areas that we might find, new airports, points of interest and whatnot. Although there will be some areas as well with water in there, nothing to see. And during that time, we can probably peruse the manual. We'll see. Cool. It's an ETS2 trip. Yes, exactly. Close enough. You can also go for the low en route charts. You can see the airways in here. It's interesting. If you see the west side here filled with airways, Norway, Sweden, and then there's like a border. So this is like, I would imagine the airspace from Sweden to Finland to Estonia, and you can see the airways just cut off. Oh, but we do have all these things which I am not familiar with. Different airspaces, I guess, maybe restricted. But we won't go into that detail today. We will mostly be enjoying trying to make the plane work in the first place, one step at a time. Okay, so let's go and load it up. DC-6A with the correct livery, that looks good. Echo Foxtrot Hotel Kilo in Vanta in Helsinki. 2 a.m. That's not going to go very well. We'll have to adjust the time, I think. Now 22 left is going to be the parking that we want. So we can pick maybe this guy, gate 31. Yeah, that looks good. Right now it's only 3 a.m. in Finland, which is not really that good. Maybe we can accelerate that by 3 hours, huh? So this is OnAir. What I'm doing is global settings, UTC offset, because normally it would base the time in real life. So when you start your flight, it will reset that to real time. But you can have an offset here. So instead of 3 a.m., let's say at 6 a.m. that we're starting off in. Something like that. And then now we can take the job. Because I found the job, this is thanks to Bunky, who made these FBOs. He made some bases for us for our virtual airline. So we have some jobs going to Denmark, these guys, and these are paying very well. Because these are like last minute jobs. You can see the color from there, orange and red. And then I think there's some other fragile conditions as well in the job. So that's all well and good. Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel. Looks good. Okay. Let's hit that fly now. And let's load up the sim at the same time. Good. Older planes, the higher you go, the more gas you burn. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Newer planes, the lower you go, the more gas you burn. True, true. The modern jet engines have been built with high altitudes in mind. We still here? Stutter, stutter. Alright. We'll make that work somehow. Actually, I'm not sure if we'll have enough time. Hopefully. Let's have a look at the block time here. So here's the OFP, the flight plan. And if you look at the flight log, the times in waits, 2 hours 44 minutes block time. We're cutting it close. You might have to go over a bit. 2 hours 45. We will see if we need to maybe change some sim rates later on. Just as necessary. Is that a problem in MSFS? There are times, yes. I think when you're loading into an airport, when you're very close to an airport, the stutters start arriving, but it's not as critical in flight sim because it's not always that you have to have your eyes on outside, right? And having to hand fly with the controls every time. It's more important in trucking because you always have your hands on the wheel. Here you're an autopilot, you have some kind of assistance, some navigation. So that's why also the 30 FPS is more often than not enough in this case. As compared with trucking, it's not as sufficient. I did change something. 1 second, because I did change something a while ago, just fiddling with the camera here. I think zoom function is what I changed. There you go. Okay, that's good. It's back. Alright. So OnAir is complaining that I don't have things matching yet. So let's see. Let's adjust that so that the time would change. Fuel, it's expecting 1,500 gallons. Let's adjust that here. Okay, that looks promising. Just looking at my other screen here, guys. Come on. A little more. There you go. And then payload is 27,000 pounds. So let's make that full. And that's 26. 27. Close enough. There you go. Okay. Start tracking and it should go daytime. There you go. So the 3-hour offset kicked in now. Cool. So weather here in Finland, pretty good weather. Supposedly there are no clouds, so that actually is reflected very well. Very nice. Ah, yes, I also changed something in the settings a while ago. The momentum. The momentum apparently has an effect as well, this guy. This is when you move the camera and when you stop moving it, it still moves in a way. Like, it kind of slows down instead of stopping immediately. It has that more organic vibe to it. That plane doesn't look half bad at all, huh? Although I'm not sure how they can fit in through the jetway through here. I guess it's not compatible. Cool, let's open up the other doors. GTA 6 2025. Oh, that's official now? Cool. Oh, there's the cargo. Fully loaded now because we set that up in the EFB. Pretty cool. We'll close all of that later. Hey Roadrunner, thanks for joining. Not yet, not yet. Is that a custom? Is that in Flight Sim 2? Yeah, I actually haven't explored any of the airports here yet. As we get to know more about the Nordics, I'll start adding in custom airports. Do you recommend it? Thanks for joining the stream, by the way. Old playing with the tablet, yeah. There's only a limit to what kind of realism you can do. Because how can you pull in everything, right? How can you simulate the artificial flight engineer? So something's got to give, and yeah. All right, let's see. So everything is reset because this is a new livery. So all the engine hours, the airframe hours are zeroed out. And we have the GNS 430 here with the GPS. That guy, I don't like that. I actually like it with the radios there. Alright, so no GPS. Realistic everything, that looks good. Fuel, everything is okay on that end. Alright, cool. Let's put that on the side. It's an amazing freeware from FlightSim.2. Cool, I have to check it out sometime soon. Alright, so 1007 here. Let's set the altimeter first. 1007, I guess, would be around. That's 5, 6, 7, somewhere around here. Is that consistent? It's saying 150, 160 feet. Is that the airport elevation? If you look at the chart, it should be around that point if you got the altimeter, the QNH setting correctly. Sometimes though, Navigraph has a bug that it doesn't load the charts anymore properly, so you have to close that and open it again. So I would assume this airport is not part of the Nordics update. This is not one of their handcrafted airports. Or is it 180 feet? Yeah, that's close enough. Looks good. So 180 feet over there, we are at 160, 170. Cool, I'll take it. Right. And what we will need as well is this guy in particular. The checklist. Because we have plenty of things to go through. And let's turn on track IR here so that I have some guidance with just navigating through here. Parking brake is set, landing gear lever is down. Cabin control panel, that's this guy over here. I guess we can do, what's a comfortable temperature, guys? Because this is in Fahrenheit and I can't relate. I think what I looked at is around 70 degrees. Circuit breakers. Let's hope that all of those are set. And with that, we can start turning on the battery and ground power. That should turn on the dials in there. Hear that gentle hum. And then we'll enable the ground power. This light indicates that ground power is available, so we can go and enable that. And that powers up the plane using the ground power unit right there. Such a small thing capable of powering the plane in the beginning. Interesting. So that we're not draining our batteries. Good. Position lights to steady. That should be this guy. That will turn on our nav lights. Seatbelt signs to on. No smoking signs as well. Flaps would be up. Just double checking. Yes. Beacon lights are off. Yes. Water injection pump switch should be off for now. Those are all off. Those guys. Emergency de-icing controls are these ones. Cowl flaps, let's open all of them. Those are these guys. This will allow our engine to breathe properly. And that's right there. Those kind of, I can actually see them moving very slowly. That's those flaps there opening up, allowing the engine to breathe, because it will definitely need that, especially in the higher stress engine settings. Fuel booster pump switch should be off for the moment. That's these guys right here. They are all off. Cooling turbine switch. I'm not exactly sure what this does, but I like the sound of it, so let's turn that on. It's right there. Maybe that's to engage the air conditioning. I'm not sure. Inverter switches all three on. That's these guys. 1, 2, 3. And aux blower, that's this guy, remains off. Overheat warning light, that's this guy. Just checking if it's really working. It is, but it's not lighting up on its own. That's good. Generators can go on. Ignition switches, these guys, the magnetos are all off. Heater switch. Heater fuel switch. Where is that again? I think that's this guy right here. 1 second. Here. Let's navigate through that way. That's this one. Is it? Yes, it is. Okay. Normal. The other switches are all down. This is the system number 1. Cabin heater master switch. Let's turn that on. Anti-airfoil de-ice heaters master switch. That's this guy right here. That's off. Prop de-icer switch. It's also off. Carb de-icer off as well. Okay, good. So now we'll be checking the quantities. Anti-icing fluid is full. Hydraulic fluid is where is that? This guy. It's full. Water alcohol quantity, these guys are full as well. Fuel quantity we have only on the main tanks, so these ones are alternate. So we only need the ones on the main tanks now because it's a short flight comparing with what this plane can do. Oil quantity, that's the aux oil. Is it these guys? Let's double check. Yes, that's the one. Full, okay. Landing light switches are retracted and off. Engine supercharger switches are on the low setting, low blower. Cabin pressure regulator, so that's this guy right here. So we are going to be cruising at 6,000 feet, so let's just set that there. And the current altitude here is 180. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 180, so maybe around... Oh, not that one. Is that the one? No, not that one. Later, we can set that. Okay. Looking good. Cabin pressure manual control door. Oh, that's that guy right there. Door warning lights are still on. You can see them lit up here because they are still open. So let's start closing them up. I love the sound. Can actually hear it closing off. Getting insulated from the outside world. Nice. Good. This guy, engine engineer, probably. This one, the AC/DC settings, I'm not sure yet. I still have to read up on that. But I just know that they're there and have to be at that specific setting. Voltage, the bus voltage 28. I think that's the normal one. This guy, where is this? Oh, these are all the fire extinguisher valves for each of the engines and the different places where we have them. This one is going to be pretty noisy, so I won't be using that, but it will be doing that horn sound and lighting up the corresponding things. Let's skip that because you guys might get jolted off your seats. Cockpit heat control, I don't think we need any. Well, it is 11 degrees. Let's see. This is kind of hard to reach even with track IR. That's okay. Windshield heat, we don't need any at the moment because it is currently, if you look at this guy, free air is more than, free air is around 11 degrees, so it's 11 degrees outside. In here it says off above 10 degrees, the windshield heat, so we'll need to amp that up later, but later, once we get airborne. Good. Right, clocks and altimeters. Altimeter we set already. Hydraulic system bypass control lever is over on this side. Yeah, that's on the on position. So all of these things that we're doing, this is normally the automated thing that Doug is doing, our AFE. It's normally as simple as ticking the before start here, and he'll do everything for us. We'll be finished much faster as well. But from time to time, it's nice to really just explore the plane and see what kind of systems it has and how complex it is, so that when something goes wrong, we'll have an idea of what to do instead of everything just being like in a black box. Okay, aux hydro pump select valve control lever, that's somewhere over here. Yeah, I know, right? Interesting, very interesting checklist. So that's this guy. And when we toggle that, if I can reach it there, we should be able to see that the hydraulic pressure is increasing. There it is. It should stop around 2,600 to 3050 psi. So we will check that out. We'll wait for it. This one, there's also one test here. Make sure that it's in the brake system setting. There you go, 3050. Exactly where we need it. The emergency air brake pressure is 1500 psi as well over here on the co-pilot side. Looks good. Oh, it's hard to navigate through here. Looking good there. So let's close that off, and that should go back to 0. Later, as we start the plane, then that should come back up again. We'll test that out too. This one is brake system, 1500 psi. Fuel tank is over on here, I believe. All main, right now they're on off, so we'll have to put that to main. This means they will be using the main fuel tanks, feeding the engines. Cross feed and aux tank valve control, these guys are all off. Prop master, that's this guy. Full forward. Engine master control switch number 2 or 3 auto, that's number 3 auto right here. Throttles were 1/10 to 1/4 open. So just push forward just a tad. Autopilot is off. That's this guy. Mixture controls are all in idle cutoff at the moment. Fuel pressure warning isolation switches. That's these guys right here. Autopilot servos, that's this lever down below, that is disengaged. Landing control lever, it's down, and we have 3 greens. Trim tabs, so we set that over on that side. So elevator trim is zeroed out, rudder trim is zeroed out, and aileron trim over on this side is also zeroed out right there. So everything is in its default position. Carb air temperature controls, yes, they're all full down, so that's in the cold setting. Wing flaps are up. Didn't we check that already? Mechanic interphone, where is that? Oh, interesting. There, like part of the circuit breakers. Charts on board, yes, Navigraph is up, and we are good. Whew. And that is the pre-flight check. So yes, looks like we have plenty of time that we need to allocate for this step. Doors closed, yes, doors are closed. Because if we look here, there should be no indicator anymore. Yeah, the red lights are not lighting up. Altimeter has been set, and now we can do the proper engine start. Okay, awesome. So open the windows. We have some nice sounds. Good. Alright, so let's go through that again. Beacons, we turn on. This one I am more or less familiar with already, so I won't need the checklist for this. Anyway, it goes by so fast. Is there a plane taxiing? Yes, there is. Pretty cool. Cute little guy there. Hey James, how are you, man? Cool. Right, so let's go ahead. Engine selector 3. Turn on the boost pump to low for engine 3. We see the fuel pressure there climbing up. That looks good, that looks promising. So now what we can do is start the engine. Should start spinning.
6, 9.
At 9 blades, both
12.
boost and prime. We'll hear it starting up. We feed it fuel. Auto rich, and that should start the engine properly. Let's go to that showcase camera for that perfect view. That's that guy. Even shaking all over. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for the follow. Hey Slay. 1 second, guys, huh? There we go. Bit sunny outside now. Struggling to sleep. That's good. Finally made the stream again. Yes, thank you. Welcome back. How have you been? Alright, let's double check that the gauges are all doing good. Fuel pressure is there. Oil pressure, oil temperature, RPM below 1000. Looks good for engine 3, and we see all the needles shaking ever so subtly. That's amazing. Start engine 4 here. Fuel booster pump to low. Fuel pressure is climbing. Looking good. So let's go and start that. So as we start this, the blades of the engine, of the propeller for that engine will start spinning, and the guy who's doing the counting is literally counting the blades that are moving. It's basically just allowing the engine to rotate a few times before we start it up fully. So once we start this off, you'll see it starts spinning like that, right? And that's what it's counting.
9, 12.
And sometimes it doesn't work even if you do everything correctly. And they say that's just the joy of having a radial engine. Fuel pressure, oil temperature, RPM. You can see even the RPMs are not exactly the same. There's a variation between each engine. Pretty cool. And another cool thing, another realism factor is the oil temperature. You can see it's actually pretty cold, starting off cold. And they actually advise, or it's required to not go beyond 1000 RPM before the oil temperature reaches at least 40 degrees. So you can see we're below the red line there yet. So that means we have to warm up the oil temperature first. Let's let it sit there. Just let the engine, just sit there and let the engine warm up so that the oil temperature climbs. Because at colder temperatures, they're saying that this is actually making the oil too viscous. And if the oil is viscous, it wouldn't lubricate the parts well enough, and that will cause damage. So even that level of detail is simulated in this plane. It's just a lovely piece of machinery, amazingly simulated here by PNDG. Right.
3, 6,
I know, right?
9, 12.
I think they've been working on this for years. 2 years maybe? I'm not sure about the exact history, but based on what I've seen, yes, definitely at least a year, maybe even more. But the developers of this plane, PMDG, they are pretty much well known for having one of the, how do you say, every plane they make is study level in a way. So it has that full simulator capability. It's not for... is that the right way of saying it? Casual. But then again, what they've done in this plane is they've made it available, they made it within reach of every type of user. Because if you're like, you want to fiddle with all the knobs and switches, you can, like what we're doing right now. But if you just want to fly, then we can make use of the AFE. So this is what we've been saying about making it available for everyone, from casual to hardcore simmer. You can even have aircraft states here. So you can just click ready for taxi and it will start itself up for you. With the oil temperatures warm already, so you don't even have to sit and wait. It's pretty cool like that. Right, engine selector 1. Boost pump. Fuel pressure is rising. Right, start it up.
3,
Enjoying your summer off, that's amazing.
9, 12.
There we go. I myself am craving for a vacation. Hopefully soon. I love it. Very nice choice of livery, guys. Even the propellers have that red trim outside the propellers. That's going to be very nice when you start really flying. Actually, you can see that already now. But as the propeller starts spinning faster, to make that perfectly circular shape with the red trim on the outside, oh, that's going to look beautiful. Alright, that looks good. Engine selector can go off. Fuel boost pumps can go off. Let's double check that fuel pressure is still there though. It is. And that means, because we have our own power now and generators are on, that means the plane is generating its own electricity. And that means we can use the plane battery now without causing the plane to shut down. And we can actually remove the GPU, the ground power unit. So that guy at the bottom is no longer there. And now we have a fully started plane. Go through the checklist, make sure we didn't miss anything. Beacons are on. Start order, mixture control. Yes, we have that. Primer, boost, oil pressure, throttle, repeat. Boost pumps have been off. Engine selector switch has been off. Hydraulic system pressure, that's what we're checking here. So now that we've started the plane in earnest, we should see that yes, the pressure has risen to 2,600. Looks good. Battery selector, yes, we've already selected plane battery. Good. engine run-up procedure. Oh my goodness, there are so many steps for this engine run-up, but I'm going to skip that because it will take us like another hour to do all of these. I'll do that another time. After engine start, tune radios. Yes, that's something we definitely need to do. So in Helsinki, we'll need to turn on the radios to... 1 second. Hey, thanks for following. Dario, how are you? Feel free to say hi in chat. Are you a flight sim fan yourself? Good. Alright. So, 114.2 would be the VOR here in Helsinki. That's what we'll be using in the beginning to navigate. And then it will be followed by, let me look at the flight log here. The VOR at Estonia, Amari, is 115.3. And what we'll do is on the co-pilot side, on nav 2, we'll switch it. So we have both frequencies tuned in from the beginning. 115.3 and then 114.2. Good. That we tuned it? Yes. So that verifies that we tuned it because the nav is saying the barber poles aren't there anymore. If we don't keep track of anything, if you're not tracking anything like this one, then both of the axes should have those barber poles. That means they are not tracking anything. And then when we switch VOR, you'll see that the barber pole on the nav, on the lateral guidance, disappears. That means it is tracking something and the needles are reflecting as well. Here we can see the DME, how many miles away we are from that VOR that we're tracking. So that's nav 1. Nav 2, we're not tracking it yet, we're not seeing it yet. That's the one we set on the right side there. So we'll need to switch to that to and from later on. Hey Dario, doing good man, doing good. Getting ready to fly. I've been watching Fabio a lot lately as well and learning a ton from him. Apparently you can use this one to hear the Morse code for the VOR. Because if you look here, I think that's the one. I'm not sure if it's this entire thing, but you can see Helsinki is 114.2. And you see these dots at the bottom. Dots and dashes, right? Morse code. So, and I think if you have the engine off and you can hear that, those small sounds, you can actually hear that if you trigger it. And that is the way to verify that yes, you are tracking something, but is what you're tracking really what you're expecting? Are you really tracking Helsinki VOR or something else? So you verify that by listening to the Morse code and verifying that, oh yes, that's the one. So you listen to it like that. But I'm not sure, maybe there's a volume in here. I'm not sure how to make that work. But for now, I think that's safe enough to assume that we are good there. Alright. You can see that all temperatures are now all above 40 degrees. That means we are safe to taxi now, to go beyond 1,000 RPMs. It's perfect. Pushback will take care of that later. Flight instruments, flaps 20. Okay, let's do that bit by bit. Good price joystick. What kind of planes are you planning to fly? I think the Thrustmaster ones are very highly recommended. I think one of the good prices right now in the market is the TCA Officer Pack or TCA Side Stick. Especially if you're going to fly Airbuses or airliners, it's going to be perfect. Let's close the windows here. Good. There, a bit of insulation. Okay, so how are we taxiing? Let's have a look. Taxiing to runway 22 left. So we are pushing back facing to our left. That means we'll be turning to our right. And then we'll proceed via Victor Golf over here. So basically we need to do like a 180 in a way. Need to face the opposite way. So Victor Golf, turn right to Zulu. Taxiway Zulu. Cross runway 15. Then Zulu 1, Zulu, Zulu Alpha. And that's how we get to 22 left, right? And then after we do that, we take off from 22 left, and then we're not really following any standard instrument departure, because all the SIDs here, all the departures here, all the procedures, let me show you. If you look under SID, these are all the departure procedures, and that's pretty fancy and all that stuff, right? You have the waypoints, you follow them, you have speed constraints, altitude constraints. But if you see, all of them are saying RNAV, RNAV, RNAV. RNAV is basically GPS. So you would need a GPS system, because it will require you to track certain waypoints like HK917. How the heck do you know where that is? So that's a certain coordinate, and that can only be provided to you via GPS. So you can't use VORs for that. Right? And so that's not compatible with our plane. So for us, the best we can do is this guy, this omnidirectional departure, which is basically saying that's the VOR 144.2, and you have some minimum altitudes, minimum safe altitudes, I think, but nothing really concrete in this airport. So yeah, it looks like for this airport they have been maybe migrating to RNAV now, because these days who doesn't have that? Cool. Pilot, no, I'm a flight sim enthusiast. Right, let's release the parking brake. Start reversing. Now the reverser kind of works sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. Let's hope that it works this time, because even if there is a little grade, like even if it's a little elevated, moving back, it will not move at all. You can hear the engine starting to work harder, but we're not moving. That's the one I'm saying, the red trim on the propeller. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Good. Oh, shaking. We are in that engine harmonics zone. You can see how much vibrations there are. Apparently with these radial engines, they have that engine harmonics, where for a certain RPM, they're not optimal working, and so you have to spend as little time as possible in those, because it's not healthy for the engine. There's also this engine stress visualizer to help us, if we're not very familiar with the temperatures yet, on how to read them. You can look here for like a cheat sheet if everything's working fine. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's working, the reverse. Sometimes it's just like that. So let's stop that. Let's put the parking brake on. We'll need the help from pushback helper. FS4, then FS5, FS2000, FS2004. Nice. Awesome. Alright, so let's turn on the tug, release the parking brake, and reverse. That's where we're going. So basically you have to turn to our right here. Man, that plane looks good, doesn't it? Beautiful. Free massage. Helsinki, yes. Our flight takes us from Helsinki to Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark. Looking good. I think we can take care of it from here. Stop the tug, set the parking brake, remove the tug, the imaginary tug, and from here we can taxi on our own. But let's go through the checklist first. Parking brake, instruments. Good. Flaps to 20. 10, that's 10. That's 15, that's 20. And we can double check that the flaps is indicating 20. Cowl flaps 4 degrees open. I think well, it is cold outside, so maybe it's not that important. So 4 degrees, so we are closing it a bit. Because these cowl flaps are very tricky, you have to balance them properly. Because cowl flaps are good for the engine circulation, for the breathing, right? It cools down the engine because you open up the flaps, so more air comes in, and it cools the engine better. So the cylinder head temperatures, the temperatures for each of the cylinders in the each of the engines, they are colder, so that means it's healthier. But the more you open the cowl flaps, the more drag you create, because you kind of like make it less optimal for the airfoil, right? Because it's kind of like the wind will go through that, so you'll get more drag. So you have to have the right balance of cowl flaps. So when you're taxiing, you don't really care about the aerodynamics, keep them fully open. But as you take off, you want all the speed and you want to minimize the drag, so you want them just a bit open, and this is what the 4 degrees would mean. So I understand it. Fuel booster pumps, we will turn that to low. Yeah, track IR helps a lot with that. So this is the 3 things I have here. Keep that on again. Manual lighting. Alright. About 1 hour. Well, in our case, it takes more than 2 hours because this is much slower than the typical airliner. Start pushing the throttle forward. Look at how much shaking that is. Right. Air conditioning controls. Where is that? Over there. Yeah, that looks good. Now that's interesting. That doesn't look good. Are we on a treadmill or something? Let's remove the gust lock first. So we have our controls moving. But why the heck are we not moving at all? Let's double check that. Is there something that's keeping us in place? Oil pressure is a bit hotter than usual, but nothing too bad. Everything is closed. No warnings. Let's take it. Let's get the tug in here again. Is it possible? Parking brake is set. Turn on the tug maybe. There you go. It's like we're stuck somewhere, isn't it? Anyone encountered this problem before? I think it's the first time I got absolutely stuck. Do a slew reset to ground. Why F1? So if we do, we might get our flight cancelled, but that's okay. At least we get it safe. Yeah, it's that one. Does that work? Let's see if that makes it work now. Michael Jackson's old plane, Hey Freddy. Yeah. Okay, maybe we can slew farther. That's one way of trying it out. Let me just do one last thing here. Okay, let's try that. Chocks, yeah, chocks are off. Actually, didn't turn them on. Whoa. Let's try to move a bit forward. Maybe that frees us a bit. Okay, landing gear. Did we just damage our landing gear there? What the heck is happening? That's not healthy. We might have a hiccup, guys. We might have a hiccup. F1. Hey Jack, can I blame you for this? How are you doing, man? Glad you made it. Sorry, couldn't join the stream a while ago. Okay, how about that? Everything is now on the ground again. Parking brake remove. That is so strange. Well, that's not working, guys. We have to think of something else. Should we start on the runway? That's the only... Maybe there's a bug in this airport. Black to white and both get... What? A dirty joke. Try to get... Oh, live pause on and off. Ah! You got it. You got it. That's the one. When did we get there? When did we enable that? That's tricky. Good one, Ryan. Good one. And now we're free. Did I have a... No, I never use that anymore. The active pause, because it sucks. Almost never works. Alright, we're good, guys. We're good. Saw that happening with another streamer. Oh, thank you. You saved us. Let's hope that our plane is still okay. Right now we can taxi. Might be. Our Harrier. Wingardium Leviosa. Indeed. Alright, let's go in taxi here properly. I'll need to cross the runway. Got up to 42 yesterday. Oh yeah, I remember you telling us. Goodness. Now, how cold is it? Over here, it's still 27. And I'm not complaining. Have you been enjoying Train Sim World 2 as well, PDX? Looks like there's been a lot of activity in the Train Sim channel recently. I like it. No, ATC. We have plenty of things enough to use to fiddle with. And normally what I notice is ATC is not really optimal for planes like these, which have different descent rates than the modern airliners, with different rules than usual. 30 today, oh, not bad. Much better than 42. Yeah, Jack is enjoying Train Sim World. How are you, Scotsman? Not sure if I managed to greet you. Let me double check my nose gear here because it does seem a bit fiddly. Oh, that was great. We didn't even see the moon there. Okay, let's go through the checklist again, make sure we didn't miss anything. Yeah, radios are good, dust lock, mixture is auto-rich, flight controls are good. Yes, transponder, let's go and set that on, even though we're not going to be working with ATC anyway. Good, before takeoff checks, position lights flashing, that's going to be equivalent to our strobes. Landing lights, are we going for a wet or dry takeoff? Based on our weight there, what do you guys say? 88,765. Is anyone familiar with it? Let's turn our strobes as we're crossing the runway. Didn't do a while ago, and let's keep it on. Let's also start extending the landing gear. So you can see those moving out, those guys. And now we can turn on the landing lights. That's those ones. Pretty cool. Alright. You want snow. Because it's summer right now, so you want snow. That makes sense. So we do have these on, and we do need... Yes. Based on our takeoff weight, which is 88,000, when we go beyond 87,600, then it classifies as a wet takeoff. We need to make use of our water injections to help with the cooling and stuff. Haven't played in a while. Been too hot to have your computer on. Ah, I see, I see. One sec, huh? Something just weirded out in my settings. Okay, I'm back. Just installed Windows 11. Takeoff calculator in cockpit. 42 yesterday and 32 today. I wish. Alright, let's double check that what we have is correct here. So we'll be taking off from Vanta. We'll be heading on a 190 course towards the VOR, towards Amari. So I have to set that to 190 actually. Okay. So set this to 190. Is over there. Okay. So we'll be turning left later. After takeoff, we'll be turning left towards the 190 course. Game sounds are bugged. How are they sounding like? Alright, set to manifold pressure, landing gear on signal, flaps up, landing gear neutral. Okay, so there are a lot of things that will be happening. After our takeoff. So let's do a review for a bit. Let me hold short here. So I started to make a checklist for the DC-6 as well. So I started with the CRJ before. So that same link now has a DC-6 checklist, although it's very raw. But what I use this for mainly is this guy for the takeoff and climb. So we have all those different things here. For a wet takeoff, we're going to be targeting a 59.5 manifold pressure. With full prop RPM, it's going to be at 2800. And then after takeoff, shortly after takeoff, we positive rate, gear up. And then once we reach around 130 knots, flaps up. And then we will go to METO power, which is lowering our manifold pressure to 48, lowering our RPMs to 2600. And then after that, we'll be lowering it further to 40 and then 2400. And then pitching for 165 knots. That's how we climb. So all these different steps should happen in a very quick manner. So 59.5, 48, and 40. Okay, Good. Lost Twitch connection, it bugged the game sounds. Okay, great to hear. Perfect timing because we are just about to hear the most amazing sounds during takeoff. Going to the bathroom to get refreshed. Runway is clear on the right, clear on the left. It's a very long runway, 11,000 feet, give or take. Not really worried about runway length here, because this plane should be able to take off in around 5,000 feet. But just to be on the safe side, right? Okay, there we go. I see 22 left, 220 on the heading. That looks good. All lined up. Squeaky brakes. Ooh, that's beautiful. Goodness. Yeah, Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion, that always gets me. Alright, so let's do this. Good. Move the throttles forward to 30 inches manifold pressure just to check that everything is stable and temperatures are good. No warning signs, that should come off. There you go. Push it to 30 inches of manifold pressure right here for all 4 engines. Stable. So now we push further to 59.5 manifold pressure, and because we have water injections on at a certain manifold pressure range, these green lights should turn on. There we go. So water injection is working. There's 59.5. Okay, good. Takeoff power is set. Temperatures are getting pretty hot. There you go. Just a bit too much on that side. Oh my goodness, cylinder head temperature on engine 1. It's not good. Let's pull back a little here. You might lose engine 1 shortly, guys. 100 knots. Rotate. Let's get some cowl flaps going in there. Positive rate, gear up. .130 knots, flaps up. Let's go back immediately to METO power to cool down the engines. Pitch up, pitch up. 2600 PM. Looking good. Let's go back to 40 inches and 2400 for the climb. Love that purring of the engine. Awesome. Let's double check. Okay. Cylinder head temperature is still a bit cold. Still a bit hot on engines 1 and 2. We'll have to double check why that is. But first, let me see. Oh, that looks beautiful. Yes, we'll get more sights of that soon. Ooh, what is that? Shiny. Helsinki ice hall. Looks like we have a lot of views there. Okay, let's explore it a bit. Before we leave this place totally, let's go for a bit of sightseeing. How do you prevent overpower on takeoff? You have to set the right takeoff thrust and make sure that the cowl flaps are set correctly so that the engine can breathe properly. Alright. Looking good there. Power, do not exceed. Turn off the water alcohol injections. Cylinder head temperatures are okay now. Yes, nice. Landing lights we can turn off and we can retract them. Okay, and then let's go for a bit of sightseeing first. After rotating, guys, we have information kilo. Ah, nice. Oh, beautiful. There's Helsinki, guys. There's Helsinki. We can explore this a lot better with the helicopter, but I won't say no to this view. Beautiful. Okay, exponent. Very nice. Okay, let's start going to the actual path that we should be going to. Continue climbing until 6,000 feet. Sorry, Drumbeat, you were asking something? How do you prevent overpower on takeoff, but after rotating? Can you rephrase? So normally you would set the certain manifold pressures to make sure that you are within the range, the healthy range for the engines, and you would start pulling back on the throttle and pulling back on the propeller RPM as you climb, because you can't stay on full takeoff power the entire way. Your engines will be too stressed for it. Good. Transition altitude, we'll set that later. Seatbelt signs can go off. No smoking signs can go, well, let's not do that. Windshield heat control, we'll double check that in a bit. Still above 10 degrees, so we don't need windshield heat yet. Cabin supercharger oil pressure and temperature. Airflow indicators, that looks good. Rate of climb and cabin altitude, that's this guy right here. Not bad at all. Yeah, let's keep it going. Okay. Right, let's turn to the right here. Turn on that 190-degree radial from this VOR. And actually, I can just simply follow that as well. This guy, because this is nav 2. This is going to lead us straight into that VOR that we're headed to in Estonia. So that's actually where we just need to go. So let's go there. Switch nav 2. There you go. That's perfect. Start turning on the autopilot here, the gyro pilot. You can see the VOR, the needles starting to move forward. As we get closer to 190, let's just move to the right just a bit. Make sure that I continue pushing forward on the throttle because we are lowering our manifold pressures as we continue our climb. So make sure we are continuing to push for that. That's something I always forget. Hey Geek Squad, glad you could join today. How are you? You never know that moment. You usually go through to... I see what you mean. I see what you mean now. Right. Yeah. If you're flying a jet, oftentimes you go pull back Like after less than 1,000 feet even, like almost immediately after takeoff, you pull back already. After you put your landing gears up, your flaps up, the next step is going back to the climb detent or pulling back on that. And just like that, we're at 6,000 feet already. So we're leveling off here so we can have some more nice views along the way. Let's level off. And with that, we can actually... So let's level off here for now. 6,000 feet. There you go, 6,000 feet. Whoa, what's it doing? And then now we can pull back on the power as well. Around 36 inches of manifold pressure. And 2250, 2260 on the RPM. Hear the sound changing. That is beautiful. Nice. All flaps. Should be okay to go on cruise now. But we'll monitor the cylinder head temps. Looking good. This should actually be set to 1013. Somewhere over there. So that means we have to lower a bit. Nice engine sound pack, I know, right? Great to hear, Geek Squad. What have you been busy with? Standard windshield heat. We're less than 10 now. So we can move it up to 10 to 0, I think. Good. We're now on cruise. Mixture controls, auto lean. That's something I haven't done yet. Thankfully, we have the checklist here to guide us. The hydro system bypass lever is this guy, so we don't need our landing gear or flap, so we can turn off the hydraulics, give it a bit of breathing space. Right, looking good in there. Let's start tracking the VOR. Go to localizer mode, turn towards the 190 heading. Yeah, really looking forward to that, Geek Squad, because together with the Xbox release is also the performance improvements for the PC. So I am super excited for it. Everything looks good here. Green everything. Okay, looks like we had a bit of pressure on the manifold pressure a while ago. I might have pushed it too forward, but now I think it looks good. Hold that altitude, 6,000 feet should be good. It's going to bob up and down for a bit and stabilize after a while. Nice. Around 600 plus pounds per hour fuel flow on each engine. That is what we're expecting. Looking good. Alright, on our way here to Estonia, to Amari. Let's see. So if I look at the guy here, after we cross Amari, we'll be on a 236 heading. That's the magnetic track. 236 track towards Visby 115.1, so that's the next VOR. 115.3, the next one is 115.1. So let's plug that in here. Switch over on this side so we see it already. If it were starting to track it, not yet. Okay, that's fine. Yes, sim brief. It's amazing. Now that one I'm not sure why, but the altitude hold for this plane is a bit weird. I think it kind of somehow respects the B key. Like if we try to go to 6,000 here and then put it at altitude hold, it will try to target something like 6,100, 6,000. So it's like a plus minus in there because it seems to be synced to the B key, where you are setting the altimeter automatically. That's how it looks, at least. Some clouds forming up ahead. No problem though. It's okay, so that's 6,000 feet. Let's see what it will do, okay? So let's level off here. Let's keep it as stable as possible. And then once we hit altitude hold, see what it's doing. It's going back up to 6,200. Yeah, it's a bit weird like that. And if I press the B key here, the letter B, that's because 6,000 for it is... So it's targeting 6,000 but using a different QNH, basically. Yeah, it's a bit strange. So for me, I just press B, just so we're always at that consistent altitude. The lighting is pristine. Super. Right, super. Let's go outside and have a look. Going to get a bit noisy, guys, so it's going to be worth it. Ah, look at that. I'm going for a dramatic pose, but kind of got excessive. No clouds whatsoever. Let's go for this other side with the sun. That looks amazing. Beautiful. Okay, everything looks good so far. The carb temps though, they are within icing conditions, like within icing, how do you say, within icing temperature, but we're not really in an icing condition, right? No moisture, we're in cruise, so it's less likely. But I think what you do here is when the RPM changes, when it kind of fluctuates, you get some weird engine readings, then that probably means you have some icing on the carb, and that's when we can turn on the carb heat to remove that. But until then, I think we don't need it on cruise, so I'll keep it off for now. If you have more detailed info on that, feel free to let me know. Sun-kissed Instagram post. Yes, definitely. Let's have a look here. 11 DME. Okay, so we're 6,000 feet above. 6,000 feet to nautical miles is around 1 nautical mile. So that means the closest thing we'll see here is 1. When we are at 1 nautical mile here, that means we are right above the VOR because we are 6,000 feet up. So the direct vertical line from the VOR to the plane is 6,000 feet. And so that's around 1 nautical mile. So that's as close as we can get. But we should start turning a bit earlier before we reach that point. because we want it to be smooth. So right now we are on a 190 track, 190 course. We want to be on a 236 course. So we have to move, what, 46? Is it? Yeah, 46 degrees to the right. And I think there is a rule, a general rule of when you should start turning, and that is your ground speed times 0.005. So our ground speed at the moment is 243. Let's put it that way, 243 times 0.005, that's 5%, is 1.2. So this means to make a 90-degree turn, you have to turn 1.2 miles in advance. Since we're turning 45 degrees, we need half of this. So this is 0.6. And then add that to the 1 nautical mile, which is our distance from the VOR at its closest point. So that means we should start our turn at 406. 1.6 rather, nautical miles away from the VOR. At least that's how I understand it. We'll see if that makes sense. We'll try it out. But we should be right atop the airport soon enough. Yeah, there it is. There's the airport. We're now in Estonia. Pretty cool. So we are at 2 miles. Yeah, that's still one. So now we start our right turn towards 243. I actually should have changed that here. 240. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Start shallowing out the descent. The turn rather. And there you go. I guess that's close enough. Look at that. So as we make our turn, we are now doing that 243 track. And it's getting closer. I'll take it. I think that's close enough. So that's manual turning. With the GPS system, the GPS takes care of it automatically, right? Turning you in advance so that by the time you make your turn, you're right on that course that is intended. But here it's all manual. It's lovely. So let's see how that looks in Little Nav Map. So this is us. That's our turn looked like. We just made that turn, so you can see the breadcrumbs, and if you zoom in, you can see that super smooth as we make that turn here. Before we reach the VOR, we started turning and we stopped, and we are kind of in that area already. Now this is not perfectly synced with what I have in mind, so that line is a bit different. But yeah, that bend looks amazing. I like that. Okay, let's turn that off. Going westbound, yes. Couldn't just cut over Sweden. We could, but we would have the need for VORs. We could, I guess, in a way, just go west and hope that we get there. But the safer approach is to travel via VOR, so we know exactly where we are. Right? Just using the VORs for navigating. It's more exciting for me at least. And it gives you a bit more challenge in there. It's quite nice. So let me double check. 155 BMEP, 36 inches, manifold pressure 2250 on the RPM. That's perfect. And then fuel flow is 600 plus, give or take, for each engine. Looking nice there. Right. Good. Bit of sightseeing. I wish I could open the window. But we would immediately get a black screen if I do that. Let's go outside here. Oh wow, what is that? Goodness. lovely landscape here. Let's have a look at little nav map, see where that is. I think that's this one. Yeah, we have the bodies of water, 3 bodies of water. That's those 3. So that's this guy. Not really sure what it reads, what it is, but it looks pretty cool. This plane. Top view. I also like top view in this plane. Very scenic. And also one more advantage is because we're flying at such a low altitude, 6,000 feet only, we can actually see the trees at the bottom. They're still being rendered. We're still within drawing distance of the trees, and that makes the landscape even better. Like, look at over there, the trees aren't being rendered anymore. You can kind of see that drought distance border in there. Yeah, there are no trees here, still have. Yeah, if you look right below you, still looks amazing. I like. Let me just double check what we're seeing here. I do like to read on the manual when I can. 1 second. Let's open this up. There you go. 333 page manual. So if you look at section 8 here, flight operation data, we'll get a lot of charts. Fit 1 full page. These guys. And what I'm looking for is this one. So you can see 1000 torque meter horsepower. What I'm looking for is the 1240. So this is the highest horsepower setting. And you can see that you're limited to the lower altitudes in this case. So for us, we're at 6,000 feet. We are at 2260 RPM or less. BMEP is 155, yes, that's true. Pounds per hour is 623. And our gross weight, let's see. Double check that. Gross weight, 87,000. Yeah, 87,000. So we should be along right at the border of these two columns. So let's take this higher one just to be on the safe side. So 6,000, this guy, 6,000. This place. So we should have an indicated airspeed of 218. Crew airspeed of 245 is what we'll be getting. Is that what we're getting? Close enough, 240. Indicated airspeed of 200. How do you read that? 210, 220. 230, 240, yeah, around 221. Is it close enough? 220, okay, yeah. Pretty nice, and that's 245. Not too bad. Cool. Reindeer power. Let's see, VOR2, still no tracking. So we'll be continuing with this VOR. What I also like about Little Nav Map is it doesn't leave you hanging. So you can see these circles. So when I was planning the flight, I made these circles. Because these are the... If you look under the VOR, you can add the nav aid range ring here. And that adds that circle. That basically means up to that point, you can still track the VOR. And if you go beyond, you lose tracking already. You won't be able to see how far you are or what radial you're on. And when I planned the flight here, Little Nav Map made sure that those circles are all intersecting. So you have a point in each of these legs that you have visibility of both VORs, so you're not left hanging. You always have something to transfer to, something along those lines. Very nice way of navigating, very safe way. That. How long until we land? That's a good question. That's a good question. We might actually have to fast forward this a bit, because it is saying, so I have Sim Toolkit Pro here as well. It is saying that we will be there in 1 hour 40 minutes, more or less. And that means 1 hour 40 minutes, that's beyond the 11. I have to stop by 11. Might have to nudge the plane forward a bit. How are you doing, Ackerman? Oh, I didn't know you got a Stream Deck, Jack. Awesome. How are you liking it so far? You'll love it. I'm sure you'll love it. It's amazing. You can use it for extra buttons. You can use it for the stream. Which one did you get? Mind blown, Jeff, looking at the manual. GIF brings back engineering study days. Does it look familiar? It is amazing. I can imagine. It is Ackerman. Yes, it's 1:1. 16 button, the XL. Is it? Oh, the what is that? 4x4, is it? Ah, yeah, that's sleek. You're going to love it, man. You're going to love it even better than the what's that thing? The side panel. Yes, the side panel. I'm not saying a lot. 3x5. Ah, I see. Right. Very sleek looking. Should be able to fit anywhere. Okay, so that one works. But in addition, there are other charts here which are a bit not the same. And I'm not sure how to read them. So 6,000 pressure altitude here. Manifold pressure at, what's our carb temps? Carb temps are at 0. Carb air temperature is at 0. So 0 is right here in this column. So it's saying that we should be at 34.8 only. And the RPMs are lower, 2200. I don't get this part. This chart doesn't make sense to me. Although this is high blower. Let's go switch to low blower. 1 second. 1200 cruise. 6000, 34.8, 2200, 12. Yeah, this chart doesn't make sense to me. What I understand better is this one right here. Not sure. I'll have to ask around. The PMDG forums is a great resource for all of these technical things. You get answered by more knowledgeable folks than I am. Hey Gani, how are you, man? How have you been recently? So we see 47 miles, keeping it moving, everything looking good. Overboost is excessive BMEP or MP. That happened to us a while ago. We'll have to look at the footage. When I glanced at the visualizer, we had some red items in there. It's the first time I got a red item. That was scary. Might have pushed forward on the throttle too much, but I don't think it created any lasting damage. Because if you look at the maintenance manager, all engines are still green. I hope. Okay, that's good. Yeah, my question as well. Where have you been flying? You had a 300 plus page data handbook with all charts and tables for design studies such as, oh my goodness. Set the flaps, the cowl flaps, yes, we set that. Windshield. Fuel system selection, no need because we're only using the main tanks. Yes, the radios are being switched. Cabin pressure regulator, set start marker to destination altitude. That's something I haven't done yet. It's over here, I think. Where do you set that? I thought there was something. There was another needle in here. I forgot how to manipulate it. Yeah, I can't remember. But then again, we don't really need the cabin pressure so much. We're only at 6,000 feet. We're only at lower here. Speed and fuel monitor. Okay, good there. Looking good here. Two, 4, 3. Let me double check something. Something just changed. Something just moved and I'm scared. I heard something toggle. That was scary. Because we shouldn't have any automation ongoing. AFE is completely off. Okay, let's have a look at sim brief here. 236 or 232 was it? One 236. Wait a minute, why did I say 242? It should be 236. We might be headed the wrong way here. Okay, let's adjust that. So if I go to gyro pilot mode here, no wonder I'm headed a bit off. Let's follow the 236 radial instead. We'll have to manually change that. So that's 240, 39, 38, 37, 36. There you go. Let's adjust that a bit. Move a bit to the left. Yeah, they have cabin pressure simulated. It's amazing, isn't it? Let's level off here. Wait for that needle to come to us. In your VOR nav training, if you would track 2 VORs and fly direct to destination. Draw both radials on the map to find the position. From there, draw a line to destination and find heading. Adjust for wind. That sounds like the correct way of doing it. Have a map and pen and paper and everything. 236. Okay, let's wait for that. That should be getting closer in here soon. Now we're entering the watery territories. Hey AK, how are you, man? Thanks for joining. Welcome back. Let me try and visualize what Gunny said. Track 2 VORs. Okay, so we have that. And fly direct to destination. Okay. And then we draw both radials on the map to find the position. So like the intersection. From there, draw a line to destination to find the heading. Ah. It kind of makes sense. But I think in a way, SimBrief is doing that for us. Like it's drawing the lines for us already. So we just have to follow the course that it sets. Let's hope that this is right. Try practicing ADF only navigation. Mind blowing. ADF. Actually, I haven't used that much yet. Yeah, for NDBs, right? Non-directional beacons. How does it work? So you would see where it is. You would know how to get there, but you can't set radials for it. Is that how it basically works? Like it's like a VOR, but you can't set radials. But you do have a DME as well. So you would know if you're headed straight for that NDB, and you would know how far you are away from that NDB. It's pretty nice though, these different things that we can do, these old school ways of navigating. You're getting more clouds there in that area. Needle points to NDB, and you can do all kinds of derivations. Ah, right. And there's also a DME aspect, so you would know how far you are away. It's going to be very useful. Yeah. So you can set at a particular distance from the NDB, you start turning to whichever place you need to go to, and that's where I would imagine Gunny's drawing of the lines would take into full effect. Getting closer, needle getting closer. When we are right bang in the middle, I'll start switching to localizer, so the plane can turn on its own. Head straight on that radial. Alright, let's do something else while we're waiting for that. And you know what, actually let's wait for this to go in the middle, because I might pass it. Let's do one step at a time, so we're not over-stressing, over-taxing ourselves. CHTs look good. Carb air in the yellow, so normally we would want to stay out of the yellow area. So that's, in this plane, that's 14 degrees Celsius to 38. Or 15 to 38, I think is the safe temperature to avoid icing. But I think we would only need to worry about that in carb icing conditions. Not really icing conditions, but carb icing conditions, which is more prone during descent, but can also happen during cruise. So we have to keep a close eye on our instruments. There's the needle coming closer. And then once we are stable here, oh, you can actually see that we are already tracking VOR2. We are 128 miles from it. Nice. When we're more in the middle, we can actually, you know what, let's switch to that already. Let's switch to that. There it is. So continue that 236 radial. Is that right? Is that the 115.1? Yes, indeed. Okay, good. And then the next one is already Kastrup in Copenhagen, 112.5. Good. Alright, looking good. Shadow and light flutters. So adds to the vibrating vibes, right? Oh, look at that view. Not bad at all. This is my favorite view of the propellers, when the sun is hitting the propellers perfectly and you see those edges, those trims. Love it. How are we doing on... Oh, that's interesting. We're actually getting a lower ground speed here. Oh, but this is... Ah, yes, my mistake. Because we are... What I looked at here is ground speed. So remember when I looked at the chart a while ago? Let's go back here. It said that we should have around 245. That's true airspeed. But this is ground speed. Ground speed is true airspeed plus or minus whether you have a tailwind or a headwind. So it looks like we have a large headwind in front of us. But what we can also do is find that conversion. If we are at 210, 20, 221 airspeed, indicated airspeed, what is that in the true airspeed? What is the true airspeed equivalent for this plane? Because each plane would have a different one. We can try and see if there's some kind of conversion chart in here. Let's see. That's the temperature, fuel weight conversion. Would you guys know if there's an airspeed? Because these are just like literal conversions to unit of measure, but the indicated airspeed to true airspeed equivalent, I'm not sure how to get that yet. Maybe there is something here. Let's see. Something with regard to speed, airspeed. Table of contents. See something. Speed limitations, maybe. We could try that. Weight and balance, airplane strength and operation, that can also work. Yikes, what happened there? Oh, Nightbot for the link. Sorry about that. Yeah, Nightbot is a bit aggressive there. Aero toolbox. Kind of scary flying over water. Yeah, there's a bit of paranoia that happens. Lighting is 1,000 times better. They really nailed the lighting. They really nailed the lighting. Speed reduction in... Okay, 1 second. Let's read that legend. Because it says... Maybe this is the one already, right? Maybe this is the best we can get. Dial indicator airspeed is DIAS. That's this column right here. Right, so that's what we have in the indicator in the gauge. And that says when it's 218, then you have 245 true airspeed. I guess this is as close as we get to that. So when we're at 220, we're at 241. Is that what we can read from it? And 241 minus 225 is around what? Oh my goodness, what, 16? So we have 16 knot tailwinds or headwinds, more or less. Something like that. Oh, look at that, perfect. Right in the middle now. Okay, so now we can turn towards 236 to localizer mode. All hail Nightbot. What's aerotoolbox.com? What does it do? Also guys, you might be familiar with the recent happenings in the channel. As you guys might know, I've recently gone through a burnout phase, so I had to change some things in the channel. Airspeed conversion, nice, thank you. Hey Quicks, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Feel free to join chat if you're in the mood. So I recently went through a burnout phase in the channel in YouTube. And for those who just joined, welcome to the stream. If you are interested in watching more, I do have a lot of videos in YouTube. That's mostly where I post my videos. And then in addition, I stream twice a week here in Twitch. But yeah, exclamation point YouTube gets you there. Or if you're not in the mood to chat, there should be a link in the page as well. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Panda. Appreciate it. But yes, so recently I went through that burnout phase, and I shared in the channel that I'm going to change things up a bit. Thank you very much for all the support there, guys. Really appreciate it. We're not going to have daily videos anymore unless I really have some things that I am, how do you say, craving to share. Because normally I would try to release videos daily. And the pressure is quite intense there. As time goes by, the pressure keeps building up, and I've been doing this non-stop for more than a year now with no breaks. Just this leg here, because normally we would have like breaks in between, right? I would be recording, streaming, and then every couple of months, me and Mrs. Clumsy would go travel. That travel equation went out the window. So now we've been stuck home for more than a year. I'm sure you guys can relate also. And so because we were at home, so I was thinking, why not do videos? Why not make it, like, push it, make the most out of it? And that's great. In terms of productivity, that's great. But after some time, the fatigue sets in, and so I have to slow it down. And so now I'm not trying to force myself to make a video every day anymore. So there will be days when there won't be videos in the channel, but I'm trying to make it more that whatever videos come out, they will be something that I really enjoy and that I hope you guys will enjoy. Right? And along with that as well, is I'm not sure if I want to continue posting these flight sim footage, this stream footage in YouTube, because I think it's actually hurting me in a way. The YouTube algorithm, as far as I know, it's what do you say? It kind of gauges, right? It measures how much people are watching your videos. And if I have a 3-hour video posted and people only watch it for 10 minutes, only a few people watch it because it's long, and the people who watch it only watch it for like 10 minutes or even less, then that's going to amount to a very low score from YouTube, right? And that results into even lower, like, YouTube will say, oh, this channel, people don't like to watch him, so let's not really recommend him to other people because they won't enjoy. And so that actually hurts me in a way. If I post these 3-hour footages and people don't watch it, that hurts the channel as a whole. So I might think about not posting this at all. The trucking, I think we'll still post because I think the Clumsy trucking 3-hour trucking streams, I think we're still getting. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's how YouTube works, unfortunately. The live stream will still have, but the footage itself, the recording, I will try not to post it in YouTube. And I'll wait if people start looking for it, and if they don't, then that just means really no one is watching it. And if someone complains, someone wants it, we'll see if I post it. But let's try this experiment. If it makes things better, because to be honest, it's been quite frustrating, especially on the flight sim aspect. I've been loving flight sim so much, but it's not getting traction in the channel. And I've had videos where I'm really proud of that video, like, I'm sure this is a great video. Even, like, I don't want to boast, like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but when I watch it, I myself watch the video and I like, oh, this video is good, I did it good. And it's not going to do squat in YouTube, no one is watching it. And that's an exaggeration, but it's not doing as well as I would have hoped. And I have a feeling the flight sim streams, the 3-hour streams that are getting very low audience retention and all those other things, I think that's hurting the other videos as well. So we'll try this, we'll see how it works. Starbuck, thanks for following. How are you? Appreciate that, thank you. You watch this because you can't run the new FS, you love to see the graphics. Ah, yes, that makes sense, that makes sense. Speaking of graphics, let's go outside and see the graphics. Thanks for following, Grumpy. That is awesome, thank you. Oh yeah, speaking of graphics, look at those reflections. It's nothing excessive, it's nothing too dramatic, it's just realistic, right? That's the best we can hope for. That looks good. Double check, not doing anything bad. Everything is stable. Cowl flaps, I closed them off a while ago. Okay, that's good. Alright. and we are in a very stable place here. You watch them even though you don't understand the thing. Right. I was thinking about that as well, Panda. That's a good point. Thanks, Gunny. That's amazing, man. Yeah, that support from you guys is awesome. Can't be thankful enough. So yes, I will try to take care of myself so I can take care of the content too. But yeah, about that second VOD only channel, that makes a lot of sense. I see a lot of YouTubers do that. Like I think Jeff Avignano, Squirrel does that. Yeah, plenty of other folks, right? They have a second channel where that's where they post the like less how do you say, less famous stuff, more experimental stuff. That's where they post it, and then the core content they maintain in the main channel, so that it gets doesn't get any of the negative scores. Yeah, I can probably look into it, but I'm not sure if it's not too much of a workload. I think we might try it, just so we can keep it in YouTube, because if we have it on Twitch, it will disappear after some time. Yeah, that might be a good experiment. Fail an engine, make it interesting. I was actually thinking about learning about that, but not today. Yeah, I'll have to learn about it in a safe environment first, without pressure, before I can explore that, because there are emergency procedures here. Like let's have a look at it at the very least. So there is a propeller feathering procedure. So there is a way where we stop one of the engines. There is a procedure for it. So we're feathering the propeller, so that will stop spinning, and then we're cutting off the fuel, so that will stop the engine fully. And then we'll have some other things for it, closing the cowl flaps, doing all of that stuff. And then there is also a way of unfeathering it. So once we've feathered it and we've tested that it works, you can see there's also a watch out here. If the propeller continues to windmill and will not feather, the fire extinguisher selector valve handle may be pushed halfway in to detent oil on position. I have no idea what that means, but it's probably one way of forcing the propeller to stop spinning. And then in the opposite direction, unfeathering that propeller. So setting the booster pumps low, generator switch on, ignition switch both, and it's like starting an engine while airborne, but has to be 135 knots maximum, so I have to be very slow for that to work. We probably have to have flaps down there, flaps 30, I would imagine. Yeah, auto rich. So lots of cool things here. Emergency procedures, engine failure and takeoff, go around, landing gear failure. I hope to explore those eventually, but when I am more confident with the plane as a whole, because right now this is only my second flight without the AFE, and I'm still very new at this. So still plenty of things to learn about the normal procedures. I don't want to skip steps. I don't want to run before I can walk. But that is a good taste of things to come. Thanks for the idea. Hey Pitcher, how are you? Welcome to the stream. A VOD channel, yeah. We can think about it. Maybe I'll try first not to post it and see if people start looking for it. And if enough people look for it, then I can decide to post it there. Oh my goodness, Mexican boat stream flashbacks. Now that's an emergency procedure. So true, so true. Everything looks good. Alright, so now that we're stable. Hi, Mrs. Clumsy. Now that we're stable here, I think we can start with some descent planning. Okay, let's get Navigraph in here. So we are somewhere along here. Actually, you know what? Little nav map will be more perfect for this. So I turned off the airplane position just so we won't have a cheat of where we are currently. So it will be more immersive. So right now we are 57 miles from the next VOR, which is Visby. So if we draw a line from Visby, say measure distance, and then let's get 60 miles. No. 1 second, okay. Can we remove those? Anyway, so let's do that. From here, draw a line. 60 miles is this one. So we are right, supposedly, around here at the moment. Yeah? After Visby, we're going to head straight on to Copenhagen, Kastrup VOR. And from there, we will be doing the ILS 04 left approach, if I remember correctly, or 04 right. So let's look for 04 right, ILS 04 right with the Kastrup transition. There you go. So that's what we will be doing. And in terms of that, if you look at the chart now, that means, so if you look at the approach going to Kastrup, after we reach Kastrup, so we're right above the airport at this point, we'll have to kind of make a U-turn, right? But at this point at Kastrup, we have to be at 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet. Actually, the VOR is here. And then 17 DME, that's this line right here. 3,000 feet all throughout until we intercept the glide slope and we start our descent, our approach towards the runway. So 3,000, we're currently at 6,000. That means we need to lose 3,000. And in terms of the DC-6, the general rule is we compute for the altitude we need to lose. So that's 6,000 minus 3,000, that's 3,000. We cut off the 1,000, so we're left with 3. We multiply that by 5, so that's 15 miles. If we start descending when we are 15 miles away from the Kastrup VOR, then we should get there in time. We should hit 3,000 just right at that point. And take note, this plane descends only at 1,000 feet per minute. That's the ideal rate of descent, nothing more. I think anything more, I'm not sure if what kind of integrity will be broken there. Like something about either engine limitations or airframe limitations. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's only 1,000 feet per minute. The descent for this plane. So very different from the modern airliners. So we have 3 times 5, right? 15. And we'll get there. But we also need to slow down. But I think because we have... so we will hit 3,000 feet right as we arrive at Kastrup over here, this VOR. But since we have this 17 miles, the 17-mile leg here, where we will be at 3,000 anyway, I think that should be enough time for us to slow down. Because normally, if we compute 15 miles as the top of descent, I would add 20 miles there, make it 35, so that we arrive at 3,000 feet earlier, like somewhere around here, and then we start slowing down. But here, I think we have this leg already for slowing down, so we can just arrive at 3,000 right at that point. And this should be enough to slow us down hopefully, into turning to the final approach course here. So I think in our case it's 15 should be enough. Well, we can make it 20 just to give a bit of leeway in there. So 20 miles from Kastrup, we start our descent. Yes, overfly 3000. That is what this approach means. That is what the approach tells us to do exactly. Although the VOR itself, if you look at its exact location, the VOR is not really, it's kind of southwest of the airport. It's not right at the center. So if you look at the airport diagram, this is the airport. The VOR is right there at the edge. So we're kind of overflying the airport, but kind of at the edge of it, southwest corner of it. All good, all good. Nice. Okay. So what is our time to go? I think we'll need to speed it up a little. We have 1 hour to go, but I'll need to go by 11. So we have 43 minutes to go. Yes, we'll have to speed it up, guys. Sorry about this, but I have to increase the sim rate a bit. And you can verify that by seeing the seconds travel much faster there. Alright, so let's get ready for this. Let's double check that everything is okay. Yeah. And well, that's not what I want. What I want is this guy. So from 236, we'll just change it a bit to 232 or 231. So we'll just change our heading just a teeny weeny bit to the left. Move a bit to the left. That's okay. We're flying much faster now. Still looks cool though, doesn't it? Not too shabby. How are our fuel tanks looking like? 1500 pounds per side. Not bad. Looks good, looks good. We have a bit of weather coming up ahead. Some clouds, but nothing violent looking. I think we're good there. Let's switch to gyro pilot mode here, because as we get closer to the VOR, it will get very fidgety the closer we get. So I think what I will do, I'll just move this 4 degrees to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what we'll be following. There it is. Should be an airport there as well. Yeah, that's the one. The VOR we were tracking. Cool. Nice. Driving some ATS and waiting for some money so you can buy Z-Mod sounds for ATS. Sounds like a good plan, man. Which engine are you running with right now? Sorry for the late reply. Oh, look at those clouds. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I love it. The live weather in this sim is getting better and better. Getting more and more accurate. That looks so cool. We're actually staying below The ceiling. 3406E. Ah, yes. That one, Geek Squad. That's amazing. People are saying it's the best one he's made so far. Constant hum of the engine. Still running with C15 Cat 3406E. Even updated the jake brake. I'll probably be driving with that on Friday. Look at that lighting, guys. I have like overcast skies here now. Look how that weather has transitioned, right? It's so fluid. Like going from a full clear sky, no clouds in sight, and then slowly but surely, the clouds thickening up, and now you can barely see the sky anymore. Ah, interesting. We actually might have to look at the weather here. At Castrop we have let me see. Overcast at 10,000 feet is what Castrop is saying. It kind of looks like it. Kind of looks closer than 10,000, but maybe not that bad, huh? Yeah, overcast at 10,000 is what the station weather is saying. 2 trucks with each engine. 2 trucks with each engine. Ooh, fancy. You would have helped with the setup. Oh yeah, you're an expert with that skin and the combo. Can't stop driving the W900. I know, right? Kind of night at Castrop. What time is it there? It was, in real life, I think 3 a.m. when we left Finland. Is there a time difference versus Denmark? Maybe 1 hour at most? 4 a.m. Ah, I see. So we're going to use the Mercedes SK. Yeah, I'm not yet decided. We didn't get overwhelming feedback on it when we tried it out. So I'm not sure if we're going to push through with it. 112.5, right? We have that track, right? 112.5, okay. Because we are not receiving VOR nav2 yet. And we are 85 miles away from the previous VOR already. Sure thing, Panda. I'll let you know our next truck. That would be amazing. Can get some lights in here actually because it's getting a bit dark. Let's hide that out. Get a bit of that. A bit of ambiance. Do that here on the right side. Also on this side, instrument panel. The lights are all over the place. Looks good. There's also one here in the middle. This one. There we go. Get that nice red, subtle lighting. Oh, there we go. Nav 2. 113 miles. Awesome. Perfect, right in the middle marker. Let's go and switch that out. I actually should have gone to gyropilot mode first. Looking good. Look at those clouds, guys. It's like we're in a time lapse. That is amazing, isn't it? Wow, even with lightning. Let's move to the left just a tad. Turning radius on American trucks is really bad. Oh yes, you said it. You said it. It's a bit weird, isn't it? European trucks feel so nimble in comparison. Great, messed up your extension, USB extension, external USB HDD. Ah, uninitialized brick. I think there are utilities for fixing that, like disk. I think there's a Windows included one, but it might not be the best, but maybe you can try starting with that. Maybe it works. Go. Time lapse for the win. Speaking of time lapse, let's go and check that. Oh, that looks great. That might be a possible thumbnail contender. But then again, if I'm not posting this on YouTube, then there's no need for a thumbnail, is there? Interesting. Maybe I'll ask in Discord what people feel about it. Or in YouTube. Let's see. Stock W900 is the length of 3 Scanias. Is it? Oh my goodness, that sounds intense. Look at that, there's like a white thing there. Is that a gap in the clouds? And we're actually seeing like shadows properly reflecting that? So since everything is overcast, yeah, you have those like gaps in the clouds. It looks so nice. That is beautiful. What it feels like. Windows 11 could release on October 20. Oh my goodness, we have clouds here. Low clouds, 1 second. Let's double check that we are not in icing conditions. 10 degrees. Yeah, probably not a problem, right at the border of possible icing. But yeah, it seems like the cloud cover is getting lower and lower, huh? I've gone back to normal sim rate because I think we'll have to get busy soon enough. Gap in the clouds. That is so cool. I can't wait when we get there. It'll be like there's a spotlight right in front of us. This view with a spotlight, and there's an airport right below us. Nice. Yeah, I think that will be the thumbnail. When we get to that spot, I'll go for that same angle. Oh, it will be glorious. Bring that back here because we'll need that soon. But You keep that here, the visualizer, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Not very well acquainted with the different engine gauges yet. We'll need carb air temp later, carb heat. Fuel flow, look at the fuel flow, it's not even Steven. You're getting higher fuel flow on the right side. Getting close to the gap, guys. Very unreadable cockpit. What were they thinking? Unreadable? 10/20/2021. That's cool. I wonder what Windows 11 will bring. Some people are quite pessimistic about it. I would reserve judgment until we get it and experience it for ourselves. F-16 into a steep climb through that gap in the cloud, I know, right? Yeah. Well, it was the 1950s. There we go. Gap? Yes, there is a gap. The clouds. Man. So nice. Yeah, the weather. Live weather works. What the heck happened there? I saw a foot in the black cockpit. That was scary. Okay, we should start our descent 20 miles. I'm thinking if we should start that a bit earlier, but just because of the cloud cover, but I don't think it's risky. That risky at least. In terms of icing. And in case we do have anti-ice. I just don't know how to operate it. Yeah. Improves the gaming performance, especially a new one from Microsoft. Yeah, there could be some optimizations under the hood, VSync support or stuff like that, better VSync. As long as games don't crash, don't cause stutters, be happy enough with that. Cylinder head looking good. Let me just take a look at the descent checklist. Get ourselves ready for something. We do have windshield heat in there. Altimeter, we'll have to set that later. Fuel tank controls, crossfade controls. Yeah, this is the important part, I believe. The carb air temperature controls. As we start our descent, as we pull back on the power, we'll need to focus on that. We'll need to make sure that we're not in icing. Like here, if we look here, the within icing range. During descent is when that becomes critical. During cruise, I think it also becomes a factor in some areas, in some humid conditions. But during descent, we really need that heat. And for descent, let me have a look. For descent, I actually wasn't able to find what kind of power settings we should have. I don't think there is a fixed one, But what I saw from Doug, from our AFE, is he set 26 inches of manifold pressure and 2400 RPM. Maybe that would work. We'll see. Doing it around 90 BMEP probably. Hey, recovery! Musta? How's it going? What have you been up to these days? Good morning, Alpha Star. How are you, man? Yeah, OS optimization comes into play too. True. So let's hope that the default resource management is optimized, because you don't really have much wiggle room in there, do we? Far Cry 5, congrats! Yeah, I hear a lot of people are enjoying the Steam Summer Sale. We have quite a few folks in the community who have been buying Train Sim, the game itself, or the DLCs left and right. Awesome stuff. Been doing some personal FS out of OnAir and some new fly stuff, mostly South America. Nice. Low and slow. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Oh yeah, I've seen that. You posted that at one point, right? You were doing both an OnAir and a neo fly job at the same time. Yeah, that was smart. Forza Horizon 4, awesome. Great to hear, guys. Yeah, I don't have budget anymore because this plane was quite pricey. Not regretting it one bit though. This is like a AAA game in terms of pricing. Clouds up ahead. 30 miles. What did we say? 20 miles is when we will start our descent, right? ETS2 truck into Forza graphics. Forza Horizon 4 on Game Pass. What's the new one that's been featured or been teased? Was that Forza Horizon 5? So the question is, how will we know if there's icing? There's an airfoil heater master. There's a prop de-icer. There's a carb de-icer. So we'll have to be very careful, monitor our fuel flow or RPM, even our manifold pressure if they change abruptly. That might be caused by carb icing. Forza Horizon 5 set in Mexico. That's looking pretty good. Looks like fun. Don't expect it to be simulation, right? But you can expect it to be fun for sure. So I have to remember 26, 24. 26 inches, 2400 RPM. And then in terms of the chart, 202 degrees. Okay, let's worry about that later. Let me move that to the left. Because 20 miles is coming up very fast. Very fast. Hey, Jay! Ooga Pooga. How are you, man? 37 months! Goodness! Has it been that long? How are you? What have you been playing? 23. Okay, getting ready. So let's turn off the altitude hold here. And soon enough, let's start our descent. 1,000 feet per minute. So I'm moving the climb glide wheel here ever so slowly. So we get to that 1,000 feet per minute descent. we go. This area is pretty flat, my goodness. Almost no hill in sight. There we go, 1,000 feet per minute. And let's start pulling back on the power here. What was that? 26 inches, right? So 26 inches, I'm pulling back here. 26 inches on the manifold pressure. Right there, and 2400 on the RPM. Very interesting, the BMEP, how that affects it. Maybe I just push on the throttle a bit just to get that 90 BMEP. That looks good to me. Doing great, man, doing great. With a few hiccups in the beginning, but looking great. That's where we're going. That's Denmark, guys. Isn't there supposed to be a bridge crossing Sweden and Denmark? Shouldn't we be seeing it right now? That might be on the other side. Oh, it should be this one. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll be in view of it. Okay, but let me focus on the approach first. Descent checks. Lowers are low. Windshield heat. We are beyond 10 degrees, so we can turn that off. Oh, it's the carb ice that we have to be careful of. Yes. So let's start putting in some heat in there. Just nudge it a bit there. That's still a bit warm. Yeah. One sec, huh? I'll get back to you guys in a bit. I see the chat moving. There it is. So we're above the yellow line now. So we should be green here now. Perfect. We have a bit of, well, pressure in here. I think I need to move my cowl flaps. Do I? Maybe not really. Windshield, altimeter, fuel tank main, crossfeed, carb air heat, bypass control. We need that to be on because we will be setting flaps soon enough. Good. Alright. We're almost at 3,000 feet. That was quick. Okay. $3,000. A bit beyond, that's fine. There you go. Actually, with the current altimeter, that's perfect. Alright, so now we start slowing down. So we switch to localizer mode here. Copenhagen to Malmo, there is one. Which one? There is one what? Oh, bridge, you mean? Oh, there it is. You know, it's just wind turbines. Too excited. Yeah, I can see it from this angle. Oh, there it is. Or some bridge. That's the one. That's the one. You have to fly over that in the helicopter soon enough. Okay, let's start slowing down here. Let's also change the course here to 202. Because as we cross over the VOR, we'll be heading towards that 202 track where 202 radial. It's 202. There's the airport. Beautiful. You can see the stutter starting to happen because aircrafts are loading on the airport. Ground aircrafts, AI planes. So we'll get those stutters. Those will occur until, I don't know, a few minutes, for a few seconds. 3 miles away from the VOR. Should be right on top of it, so the VOR should be somewhere here, I believe. I'm actually not sure how it looks, a VOR looks physically. If we can see that in the sim, that would be great. but I don't think so. That's where we're landing, 04 right. Look at how much we're slowing down now. That's great. We need more though. We need to slow down more. We can't deploy flaps yet at this stage. Start turning. 202, I believe. Yes, 202. Good. There's the middle marker for the ILS. I always get scared when I hear that. First thing that registers to me is I did something wrong. Everything green, although the oil pressure is a bit hot. Why? It's a bit high rather. Nothing too bad though. Okay, 202 should be coming up soon. And then we are looking for 1717 DME. So now we're now doing this leg. We're now on this leg, guys. We crossed the VOR and we're now on 202 heading. 17 miles, and then we'll loop around so that we are aligned perfectly on the runway. Cutting over the active runway. Yeah, but that's part of the procedure. So I guess they have to have that cleared somewhat. So that's why we're 3,000 feet above. So I guess that is a realistic procedure enough. Start extending the landing gears here. Not landing gears, landing lights rather. Those guys. That's the one. Good. Okay. Let's go through the checklist. Am I slow enough? Still not slow enough. But getting there, we do have 10 miles more where we can continue slowing down. Yeah, this plane really needs a lot of track miles for slowing down. Once it levels off, we need to stay there for like 20 miles to get that speed lower and lower. Hey, adventurer! How are you, man? Salamat din. For what? Store Belt Bridge, much more impressive. Sounds good. Yeah, bridge shot, definitely. Looks so retro, even the weather. I know, right? So cool. Okay. That's getting closer and closer, just like we like it. Oil pressure still yellow. Why is that? Is that because of the carb heat that I've put in? Not sure. Oh, one second. We have to start tuning for the VOR. 115.1. Oh, that's still the old one. 109.3. I almost forgot about that. This one will put it on standby. We'll switch to that in a bit. Okay, that looks good. Getting closer and closer. Loving the DC-6. My sentiments exactly. Slow down just a tad more here. That looks great. Okay, So do we have the VOR? Do we have the ILS? The ILS is still in range, around 15 miles, although I imagine that will get away soon enough. Go to localizer mode here. So we'll be starting our turn shortly. 037 will be the final approach course. So turning right towards 037 in a bit. So let's put here 03. That's 035, that's 037. Perfect. Still not slow enough, my goodness. Apparently I didn't slow down enough there. Because we're looking for 174 knots here. We're currently at 160, 170, 180. We're a bit shy of the flap extension speed. Come on. Slow it down. 17, there we go, 17 DME. Start our right turn. Let's go ahead and switch frequencies as well, so we can start tracking the VOR. Not VOR, the ILS. Wing flaps, landing lights is good. Instruments are checked. There we go, that's the one I want. The speeds. Flaps 10. Flaps 15. Flaps 20. Awesome. Getting ready for the approach here. Seatbelt and no smoking signs. Good. Landing gear, let's bring that down later. These things. Yeah, auto rich, yes. One sec guys, getting into the busy time here. Okay. Actually overshot it a bit. Let's move to the left again. That's what I was afraid of. No AFE all the way, yes. Super fun. Super scary too though. Yes, there it is. Level off here. Let's turn off all the carb air heaters. Looks good. Prop governor controls 2400 RPM. Cowl flaps 4 degrees. Looks good. Wing flaps full down. We can do that in a bit. We're at flaps 20 right now. 16 DME. So we're 16 miles away from the ILS, guys. So right now, if we look at Navigraph here, 16 miles is around 6, 9, 15, around this point where my mouse is. The final approach fix is around 6 miles away. Okay, so we should be ready by then. Cool. Oh, we overshot it again. That's what I always miss, the localizer. We've gone too much to the left. Now we have to chase it to the right. That's okay, that's okay. We'll make it work. FE can make a living. Faces cruise in the HUD. I'm not sure why it's not detecting. Yeah, that's the runway. It's probably too confused. As confused as I am. Okay. Let's do that. Looking good there. Hey Rush, thanks for following. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Getting pretty close. Let's go to later, we'll do that later. DC-6 checklist, it's a mod. Yeah. Exclamation point mods gets you that one. Super helpful. Looking nice. intercepting the localizer. Glide slope is alive there. Going to be meeting that soon as well. We are in the right speed, so that's perfect. Okay, now we can go to localizer mode. So the plane can follow the lateral guidance. You can see the glide slope coming down there. So let's start lowering the landing gear, slow it down. Start going to flaps 30. And as that crosses the middle point, let's go to approach mode so that the plane will follow the glide slope down. Yeah, definitely do. Definitely M, J, exactly. Looking good there. There we are. We are established on the glide slope. You have 3 green, wing flaps, looking good, landing. Okay, looks good. We're still a bit fast though. Let's go to flaps 40 here. Slow it down because with our current weight is 82,000. If you look at the V speeds, 82,000 is a bit dark. 82,000 is around this point, let's say. 134, 105. 134 approach speed. That's still a bit too fast. So let's go flaps 50 here. That's also a bit too strong. Oh. Something is a bit weird with the autopilot. I have to nudge it sometimes, nudge it into place. I think that's because of my yoke. My yoke is getting in the way. Course is set, yes. 032. 037. 1 second. 037. Yes, that's 037, okay. It's almost scared there for a bit. Come on, follow the ILS, follow the localizer properly, bro. If not, I'll have to remove the autopilot. Hoping for no need for swimming. I hope so too. I hope so too. Respect old or new. Difficult thing to fly, yes. But yeah, flying this way really gives you an appreciation of how far we've come. And it gives us the fundamentals. Because oftentimes when we get into flight simming, we jump into the modern stuff and we kind of disregard some of the basic concepts. So now I'm learning all of these things that I never learned before. Like VOR navigation, the importance of the basic stuff. It's quite nice. One sec, guys, huh? Okay, one sec. Perfect timing. Someone just rang the bell. Let's go flaps 40 here. We're getting a bit slow. That's the inner marker. Yeah, makes sense. 3 green, everything good. Okay, let's remove the autopilot here. On our own. Flaps 50. Not touching the throttles at all. Keeping that attitude there. We're a bit high. Stutter starting up again. Can't live with them in the new age. Yeah, it's great for appreciation and for simulation, but I don't want to use them in real life. You know, it's great for just the simulator stuff, I think. Flaps 50, 3 green, landing lights on. Should be good. New pilots don't get to do all these. You only need 2 people from modern aircrafts. Yeah, some smaller jets you can even fly with 1, right? So much has changed. Oh, that was the outer marker a while ago. This is the middle marker. My bad. Right on the glide slope there. A bit low, that's fine. We'll make it work. There it is. And at this point, I just should keep looking outside. was harder than I was hoping for, but it was a good approach. Just a bit lacking on the flare. We can make that work. Reversers, 30 inches. 30 inches please, slow us down. Thank you. I think we can taxi all the way to the end of the runway and turn there. And we can also turn here. Or is that a runway? I think that's a runway. Copenhagen Opera House. Looks like lots of places to tour in this area. Very nice. GG. Sync rate's huge. So that might be confusing because this one is actually 500 feet per minute. Usually in modern planes, this point here would be 1000 already. So it's a bit exaggerated in here. The needle moves a lot more sensitively because it's per 100 feet each line. Here we are. Thank you. GG bro. We made it guys, we made it. We had a few hiccups in the beginning, but thankfully we made it. Thanks for staying along. I'm surprised. Okay, now we need the Navigraph moving map so I know where we are. Yeah, this one we can't use VOR for the radials. Is that the DC-6? Yar Jack! 38 months! Look, some DC-6 is here as well. Cebu Pacific even. Ground planes. That is super cool. Let's go and sit beside this DC-6. Again! Yeah, I know, right? Oh, I really hope that you are getting charged there twice. For my benefit. Open the cowl flaps, let the engines breathe. Flaps can go up. Prop governor full RPM, full forward. Cabin is depressurized. I'm not really sure how to do that. But okay, position lights can go to steady. Landing lights can go off. Awesome. And that's just perfect timing. 11. Nice. I'm happy with that. Okay, taxi, transponder, standby. Stay beside this guy. Is there space? Yeah, I think we do. It's maybe here. First time I've seen another DC-6 aside from me. That looks so cool. Got to like the plane with hit the cockpit, yeah. Super old school, right? There you go. That is a beautiful plane. Wow. Open the windows, get some sounds. And now, we can set the parking brake. Yes, we have set that. Seatbelt signs are off. Mixture controls. This is the cool part. Shutting down the engines one by one. You can even hear it. And engine 1, shutting it down. So cool. So cool. Cool. Alright. Let's just clean it up and then I will let you guys go. 1 second, huh? Is that off already? Yes, it's off. Good. Beacons off. No APU. Yeah, just the batteries are powering this up. Inverter switches. Turn that off as well as the generators. So these guys. Must lock, engage that again. So that's this red thing here. That locks the controls. So even if I'm moving the yoke, I can't move the yoke actually. And there, yeah. From there we can actually just turn off the plane like so. So yeah, no APU on this plane. No APU. They had to be quick. Maybe, I'm not sure how long the batteries lasted. That's true. Or maybe someone plugged in a GPU immediately after landing. Make some space, give them a nudge. I like it. Yeah. It's amazing. I love it. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for enjoying this flight with me. Let me know in Discord if you have thoughts on whether we should publish this footage in YouTube, given the things we discussed a while ago. I'll make some polls and I'll weigh some reactions to decide. But yeah, as much as I'd like you to share it, I think it's not doing the YouTube algorithm a lot of benefits. Anyway, thank you. GG. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the company. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Clumsy flying.